I went to Dagestan alone, and for 7 days I joined a Dagestani training camp. I ended up training at some of the best gyms in the region and documented everything. Today I'm telling you everything you need to know on how to join a Dagestani training camp yourself. The most asked question in every video was, what is the price, how did you arrange it? Today I'm gonna tell you everything on my experience on going to Dagestan and to train there. Before we start, I want to do a quick disclaimer. This video is not sponsored. When I booked my trip, I booked it through MK Wrestling. They paid partly for my stay there, but most of it I paid myself. The flights I paid myself, most of the trip I paid myself as well. So this is not a sponsored video. When the first couple of videos came online and the videos were doing extremely well, I got approached by a couple of companies that wanted to sponsor this video, but I ended up declining everything. The reason for that is that I don't want to use this video to sell you a training camp. I want to use this video to explain my experience and how I did it. I am still a starting YouTuber, so usually sponsors is the way for your channel to grow. So deciding to turn it down was not the easiest thing, but I feel like to make this video as honest as possible, it was better to do it without a sponsor and just tell you the real story of how everything happened. I want to tell you the honest experience, also the bad things and things you need to take into consideration. If you want to still help my channel grow, you can like and subscribe this video. That will help me out so much. The channel has been growing extremely quickly. When I posted the first episode, I was at about 20,000 subscribers, and now whilst making this video, I'm already at 30,000 subscribers. And then before we start with the first topic, I want to do a quick disclaimer. I'm not an expert on the region. I'm not a lawyer. Anything about legal stuff and visas and everything, I'm not an expert in. You have to do your own homework before planning a trip like this. I'm just going to tell you what my personal experience was going to Dagestan. These are a couple of things that you need to know before even thinking about booking a trip to Dagestan. You can't enter Dagestan alone. It's not Thailand, where you just book a flight to Thailand, to Bangkok or whatever, you just enter the country, you sign up to some gym and you can start training there. It's not like that. You need to arrange everything beforehand. You need either a respectable gym, a respectable coach, or most likely a respectable training camp. I'm going to explain everything about that later in the video. What they don't want is Dagestan to turn into a Thailand with mass tourism where everybody just comes in, starts training there and make it their own. When you will come to Dagestan with a training camp, they will always have meetings with you first. They want to know more about you, they want to know what type of person you are. Every single time they invite somebody into their country, for them it's also a little bit of a risk because they're putting their reputation on the line. It's very important that the people they let into the country are very respectful and that they know what they're getting themselves into. If you saw all the episodes, you saw the good connection I had with everybody. Everybody was extremely nice to me. I could talk to everybody. But that's also because my guide is a very respected person. Murat, who you also saw in the videos, is a master of sports. He's the head coach of wrestling over there. I booked it through Muriel, who's the owner of MK Wrestling. That means that when I came there, especially with a camera as well, they know they could trust me. If you just come in there yourself, first of all, it's not going to be possible. But even if you somehow would come there and you come yourself, you're not going to get the same experience. You need to come with and through people that are very respected. Secondly, I showed it in the video as well, but Dagestan is a red zone. Most countries advise you not to go to Dagestan. As you saw in the videos, I had really good experiences outside. I would walk around alone at night. I would walk around with my camera filming myself. I never had any problems. Everything went amazing. When I was there, it did not feel like a red zone that I was in any danger. That doesn't mean that it can't happen. Whilst I'm filming this video, Russia is still in conflict. Who knows how that's going to be in the future. But at the moment, there are certain restrictions which make it more difficult to enter a country like Russia or a region like Dagestan. That doesn't mean it's not possible to go there, obviously it is, and it doesn't mean that anything bad is going to happen when you come there, but it is something to keep in mind. And lastly, nobody speaks English. The entire trip I met one person that speaks English. Other than that, usually your contact person when booking the trip, you're going to have somebody that speaks English. But other than that, whilst you're there and you're going to join actual gyms, nobody's going to speak English. Firstly, visas. That's something I can't tell you a lot about because it's different for every country, but Russia recently introduced an e-visa and that's how I entered the country. I didn't have to go to the embassy, I could apply for an e-visa online and a lot of countries fall under that. They then allow you to go to Dagestan and I think it's for 16 days and I paid about $40 for that. If your country is not on the list for the e-visa, you have to apply for a normal visa. I'm not sure how much that's going to cost, it depends on every country, but that is not something that I can really help you with. I'm not a lawyer, I don't know how visas work, so you have to do your own research on that. Then, flights. There are almost no direct flights to Makhachev. You have to either fly through Istanbul or Dubai. My flight from Istanbul to Makhachev was with Pobeda, that's a Russian airline. The problem is that even if you access the website through a VPN, you still can't pay on it. Almost every single card is blocked in Russia at the moment, which means that you can't actually pay for your trip. That means that you have to do it through trip.com. Again, this is not sponsored. I do have an affiliate link in the description. So if you do want to help me out and you want to book your flights to Dagestan, you can do it through that link. But I haven't found any other way other than trip.com, or you have to do it through Etihad Airlines and then you fly from Dubai and then from Dubai to Makhachev. It's a little bit more expensive, I think, than flying through Istanbul. That's how I did it at least. At the end of the video, I'm going to explain everything about prices, including flights, stay there and everything, but that's going to come at the end. Now onto the training camps. This is going to be the most important step. You either need a training camp, a respectable contact person there, or you need to be invited by a gym. You need either of the three to be able to enter the country. There's a couple of different training camps that you can book to go to Dagestan. I personally went with MK Wrestling. That's how I ended up booking my trip. But what's important to think about is that not every camp is the same. I went through MK Wrestling, and what I did with MK Wrestling is that I stayed in the Athlete Hotel. The Athlete Hotel then works together with different gyms, and then my guide brought me to that gym and then I trained there. There are also different camps where you train on site. You train there, you eat there, and you're going to be surrounded from one day to another day, and you're going to be there with the entire training camp, so people that fly in from all around the world to train there. It's two different experiences. If everything is on camp, you eat there, you train there, maybe you make some trips, activities, maybe you go to a different gym for a day. But what I had was completely different. I was in the middle of Makhachev. I was in the Athlete Hotel. Every gym was close by, the wrestling gym, the MMA gym. Everything was in a 10-minute walking distance. And I was only training with Dagestanis. There was not a single foreigner there whilst I was there. The only people that trained in the gyms where I was at were Dagestanis. That means that if you go through MK Wrestling, you need to have combat sports experience. It's not for beginners, because you're going to be training with people that are really good as well. When I went to the wrestling gym, I almost never had trained purely wrestling. My wrestling came from MMA or grappling, which is a lot different, but I know what I'm doing. The level of wrestlers that I was training with were extremely high. It was insane. These were some of the best wrestlers in the region and some of the best wrestlers in the world. If you go through a camp where it's from a certain date to a certain date, they also have beginner camps, for example, where if you don't have a lot of experience, you can train in Dagestan and you can learn the basics and do it that way. That means for you, it's very important to decide, do you want to train in different gyms with Dagestanis, or do you prefer joining actual training program for, let's say, 15, 16 days and you train there? That means for you, it's very important to decide what do you want and what can you do? What is your experience level and what is the right fit for you? When you have finally found the camp that you want, it's going to be time to apply. Like I said earlier, they don't let anybody just into their camp. They need to know that they can trust the people that come to their camp. You're going to have a meeting with them, you're going to have a call with them, you're going to be in contact with them, and then from there they will help you with everything. They will help you with flights, they will help you with your visa. I can just speak from my experience doing it once, but for them it's their job, so they can help you with it and they can do it a lot better than I can. Next up is training. What's very important when you're in Dagestan is you need to be extremely respectful. And I say Dagestan, but this applies to every country. When you're a guest in somebody else's country, you need to be extremely respectful to their traditions, to their rules, and the way that they operate. You are a guest. You are in their country. You are participating in their traditions. The way that they do it, that's the way that you have to do it as well. And if you come with a good contact person, somebody that they trust, they're gonna trust you as well. I came in there with my phone with a flashlight on and I was filming everybody. I can't explain myself, nobody speaks English, and I just kind of had to get along with it, but everybody was extremely nice. After training, every training, I stayed there and I talked to the people, and through Google Translate we could talk and everybody was extremely nice, everybody was interested in me and everything went well. But that was also because I was extremely respectful to their traditions and to their country. I'm also really interested in that, so that helps. But when I come to somebody's country, I want to experience what it is like to live as if I was actually living there. I want to eat the food that they eat. I want to go to the places where they go to. I want to experience what life is actually like. And when they see that, they can really appreciate that. So that's a really important thing. The level is extremely high. If you do it like me through MK Wrestling and you go to new gyms every single day, the wrestling gym, you saw it in the video, these are some of the best wrestlers in the region. One of them was a silver at the Europeans, for example. Even if I would train wrestling every single day for 5 years now, I was not going to be on the same level as those guys. What was extremely beautiful to see though was that they had no ego. Nobody tried to kill me in training. Everybody was extremely respectful to my skill level in wrestling. They were dominating me, but they did it in not a way that I was going to get hurt or that my ego was going to get shattered. It was just training. And they know how to match the level of the person that they're training at. And I think that's a really good thing. In most countries, that's not the case. People want to prove their own ego and they want to, show what they can do. That's not the case there. Everybody was extremely nice. Everyday life there is pretty normal. Something to also take into consideration is that you can't access your bank cards. Everything is blocked, just like with the flights. That means that you have to bring cash into Dagestan, and then from there you can exchange it. I wouldn't really do it at the airport, it's really expensive, but usually your contact person is going to know somebody who can exchange money for you, and then from there you can get your rubles, and from there you can pay for everything. There are supermarkets everywhere. I talked about the coffee shops in pretty much every single video because the coffee is actually insane in Dagestan. Everything is also really cheap. I went to Papaha or Papashka, however you want to say it, Khabib's restaurant. I paid about 20 euros for an entire dinner, and that's one of the more expensive ones there. You can go to restaurants every single day. Every morning I would get my breakfast at Safran and it would cost me about 3 euros. It's extremely cheap. Also make sure that you download Google Translate. You can download languages, so even if you don't have Wi-Fi, you can just type it in and they can read whatever you're saying. Google Maps is not perfect for in Russia. They use Yandex, which is a different app, but it works really well. And once again, you can download it as well and you can just walk around and you know where you have to go without having Wi-Fi. And now I'm gonna talk about some of the bad things. Some of the bad things that you have to take into consideration. Like I already said, you don't have access to your money. That means that you have to bring cash with you. The problem is when you bring cash with you, you can't get more money. The amount of money that you have is the money that you're gonna have. Dagestan has been having problem with electricity. The first night I was there, I actually had it in the first video and I cut it out the last second. There was no electricity. It was luckily the only night that I didn't have electricity, but I arrived in the hotel. It was the first night. I just went through passport control. I got in the hotel and there was no electricity. It's a common problem that they have and it's not ideal. I bought a bundle online that I would have internet, but it just didn't really work. So most of the time you're relying on finding Wi-Fi. A lot of places have free Wi-Fi, so that's good. But even then, sometimes it doesn't work perfectly. And lastly, I also talked about it, there is a conflict going on. Most countries advise you not to go to the region for safety reasons. I didn't have a single problem when I was there, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. So it is definitely something that you need to take into consideration. And now my honest experience, I had an amazing time. It was a once in a lifetime experience. It was something that I had never, ever experienced before. And it's something that I'm never gonna forget. The people were extremely nice. The trainings were amazing. The people that you train with, the level that you're training with is absolutely amazing. But I did have it very tough. For the first 48 hours, I had adrenaline in me 24/7. I was alone in the middle of Makhachev. Nobody could speak English. And I had a very tough time. And then later on, I realized that everything was okay. And then I kind of calmed down and I had a really good time. Like I said, it's a once in a lifetime experience. There's no other place like it in the world. And it's something that you will never ever forget. And that is also the message that I want to bring with this video and the reason that I didn't want to have it sponsored. Going to Dagestan is not for everybody. There are some huge things that you need to take into consideration. If you will go, you will most likely have an absolutely amazing time. But there's also a lot of things that you need to think about and you need to plan ahead before booking your trip. Being able to say, oh, I'm going to 3 years Dagestan is obviously a really funny thing to say, but once you're there, it's not a joke anymore. So it's really something that you have to think about and you have to be serious with. You need to plan it for a couple of months. It's not something that you book in the spur of a moment because you're at a bad wrestling practice and you're like, oh, I want to go to Dagestan because I want to learn how to wrestle. There's most likely going to be a wrestling gym in your city as well. Is it going to be the same level as in Dagestan? No, of course not. But if you go to Dagestan, you're going to get a lot better, but it's also the entire experience of the trip. So you have to really think for yourself, is this something that I want to do? If the answer to that is yes, you can. You saw it, I did it, and I just explained to you how you can do it as well. But it's not for everybody. And now lastly, the prices. That of course depends from where you're flying from. I paid about 800 euros for my flight, but I booked my flights 1 week before going. So it can be a lot cheaper as well. You're probably thinking about between 600 and 800 euros if you're flying from Europe. And then I went from Amsterdam to Istanbul and from Istanbul to Makhachev and then the same way back. And then for your stay there, usually everything is going to be included in one price. So your hotel, your training is going to be one thing, and then maybe you have to pay for your own food or it's also included. Through MK Wrestling, for hotel and training, I paid about 75 euros a night. Then you have to pay for your own food, but they also include an option where you also get your meals included. And then if you want to do other activities, maybe go through the mountains, horse riding, go to the local mosque, museum, then you have to pay for that for yourself as well. And then there are other camps where everything is included. Hotel, training, activities, food, everything is included. And that can get upwards to a couple of €1,000, 3,000, 4,000 for example. Here you have a quick overview of the prices. As you can see, it can very much depend on which camp you choose. At the end of the day, that's going to be the biggest factor, but here you have a small estimation on the costs. So to finish off, going to Dagestan is a once in a lifetime experience, but you have to really think if it's something for you. If it is something that you want to do, find a camp that's the best fit for you and apply. From there, they will take care of you and organize everything for you. And then one more time, I want to thank everybody for watching the Dagestan series. It's doing absolutely amazing. I don't want to spoil too much, but because of the success of the Dagestan trip, I have already booked my next trip, and I'm going early December, and the first new episodes are going to arrive somewhere in the middle of December. This was not the first plan. My actual plan was to go to a next destination in January, but because the videos are doing so amazing, I also want to have a couple of videos for you in December. Let me know in the comments what country you think I'm going to next. I'm really curious if you guys can guess it, and I see you next time. Oes!